that 3-week period in December, like everyone was sick. But we're really excited about him coming on today because it's kind of more of a private training and just diving into more of like the how to be successful in MDC, especially around the compensation plan. I mean, if you've watched any of Josh's compensation plan calls, you know he's passionate about the compensation plan here at MDC. And so that's why I wanted to have this call, not to do the nuts and bolts of the comp plan, because we've got training for that and everything, but more conceptually about what to focus on. I know we've been doing a lot of the 10 and 2 throughout the entire team, and that came from Josh as well. And so that's kind of today's point, is to really kind of dive into the money aspect of MDC, because you know, when we think about all the things that My Daily Choice has to offer, it can seem like so much. And it's like, we've had some conversations about, you know, what do I promote and which brand should I present to the market? Yeah. And we've really focused on the business of MDC, which is attached to the compensation plan. And so that's what we want to really kind of focus on today. And none better than the CEO and founder of the company as Josh Zwagil to talk about that. But we got to meet Josh a few times out in Las Vegas, and it's just been one of those things where, you know, when you're aligning with a company, you want to make sure kind of the driver in the seat knows what they're doing, because we've been in companies that the driver doesn't really know where the wheel is. And so Josh not only knows where the wheel is, he's thinking about where the bus is going 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
And he's also built as well. So that's the most important thing, is like he's been there, done it, right? And so it's not just we're learning from someone that just came in as an executive, right? Or as the CEO of a company but has never built in the field, right? So that's what I love about it. And, you know, I did a coaching call with Jenna yesterday, and it was more about like what to lead with and stuff like that. And, you know, the opportunity here is the gold in what we have with MDC. Yes, great products. Yes, so many brands and all this, but it's really the opportunity, and what better now to promote that because of the way that the economy is right now, right? Everybody's looking for something. Everybody's searching for an extra stream of income. So I love that we get to do this call and talk about not only like how to make money, but then how to lead and all that stuff. So thank you, Josh.
And I think that's the first question we always ask everyone, Josh, when we do calls like this is, and it's a silly question. It's why I kind of changed it a little bit on this call. It's like, why MDC? Well, if you're the CEO of the company, you're like, well, of course, why would you do anything else?
Right.
And so, but the question is really for you right now, and I'd love for you to maybe just tell a little bit about your backstory too, but like why MDC now? Because we had a call with Robert Hollis too, because he's been in the seat with you for a while as well, watching the evolution of MDC. But what about MDC right now has you the most excited in the seat that you sit in? Because it's really the driver's seat, so you have a different perspective than most people. But yeah, we're just so thankful that you're on the call today, and we get to steal a couple of your minutes here.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me and giving me the opportunity to chat with your leaders. You know, you made some great points, and I think, you know, why MDC right now, every company in our industry has timing. You know, sometimes you take a look at a business and it may be too early or it may be too late. And I feel like companies in our industry have, you know, cycles, and the timing right now for MDC is, I think, what's critical. I mean, we're in a sweet spot right now where, you know, it's a new year. We just launched. All last year was, you know, launching all brand new tech. You know, we dialed in a lot of our products and brands, you know, that to make them better. And so we're attracting a lot of leaders right now across the industry, different countries, different markets. And it's a great time to be an MDC. You know, I think our industry of network marketing has had a lot of shakeup. You know, there's a lot of weird things going on. And so most people that I talk to are just looking for a home. You know, they're looking for a company that they can sink into and partner with and take advantage of great products and partner with good people. And that's what we have in MDC. And we're just excited to get our event game going, because it's been years without events because of the pandemic. And so we brought Mark Asset on board. We're going to Budapest this month, you know, and then we're going to Dallas, and, you know, we're just going to be working live events, which you guys can all plug into. But, you know, I think timing is everything, and all the signs and all the stars are aligning right now for MDC and our timing.
And we were just chatting about this earlier this morning. One of the things that when you have the timing talk, right? A lot of us in this industry try to time startups. They try to be like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to be the first in, the first on the top. I'm going to take advantage of everything that a startup's going to have, and we're gonna cross our fingers and we're gonna go. And so that's one of the questions we get a lot from people now too, is because, like you said, the industry is kind of going through a little bit of a weird shakeup right now. Companies merging, new companies coming out, all these kind of things. What would you say to somebody if somebody came to you, because you've had this conversation with a lot of leaders that come to MDC, is, hey, I want to go start my own company, or I want to do a startup company, or I might do MDC. What would you say to somebody that's like, the reason that they would go, I really want to partner with MDC? I kind of know the answer, but what would you say to somebody about that maybe has an opportunity to be part of a startup, whatever that startup company might be, versus taking the path of treating MDC as a startup? Because that's how we see it. It's like every 3 months it's a startup.
You said startups are like a drug. Like everybody's like addicted to like going to the next shiny thing and being the first, right? So yeah, I would love for you to touch on that.
Yeah, I don't think being the first is a big deal in the industry, because you don't want, I mean, you could be first in a startup, but as you guys know, startup companies have a lot of challenges. I mean, there's tons of challenges. There's growing pains in a startup, and 98% of startups in this industry fail within the first 18 months. So, a lot of people that aren't experienced in the industry, may think it's a good idea to try to catch something that's new and shiny or hot, or something that, is ground floor. We hear that a lot in the industry, but the problem is it never makes it out of the ground floor. It stays in the basement forever, right? And so, I would much rather, if I had to leave, and if I had to go look for a home somewhere in the industry as a veteran networker, I would want to be in a solid company. I would want to be in a company that is going to be around for a long time. So I would choose stability over something that's shiny. And a lot of people are like that, because they join a startup thinking everything's going to be all great, and then they realize that it's not what they thought. And you can only do that so many times in the industry before you completely ruin your reputation. So yeah, I would choose the solid deal all day long over something that's new and shiny.
Yeah, and companies that are actually evolving, right, and growing, like with the technology and all the things that MDC is doing. That would be first and foremost too, because everybody has products. Every health and wellness company has the same product, and yes, some are better than others. But how are you going to market those? Like, do you have the technology to market those and mass market them on any different level, right? And being able in MDC having multiple brands that you can market to, right? Yep. Instead of just one umbrella of every product.
That's huge. And so the question inside of there too would be, when you have somebody's new, because MDC is attracting a lot of leaders because of that, because they see stability, they see the house of brands, they see the compensation plan. And so if you have a new person that's watching this and they go, well, I don't have a following, I don't have an influential market, I don't have all of that, what would I promote? What is there a thing that you say to a new person that's either new to the industry or just has never really done, this type of business? What would you say for their focus to be? Would it be products, opportunity, one of the house of brands? Because I know we just are coming out with some enhancements in the Akashics. What would it be? Because I think if people get fixated and go, okay, Akashics is hot now, and then maybe in 3 months, Body Med will be hot, and they get into this thing of like, they don't know what they're promoting at all times.
And they do nothing.
And because we've fallen into that too sometimes. And so what would you say to somebody that's starting out on like, here's what you should focus on? And that was one of the questions you asked Jenna as well. What would you focus on coming into this, on how to approach your market? Would it be products? Would it be business, a mixture? What would you see? Because you're a seasoned networker. You did earn 7 figures in this industry before you started your own company. How would you approach MDC as a new person?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, I mean, there's 2 ways. I think there's 2 ways to promote a business in our space. You can promote products or you can promote opportunity. And I've always done both as a leader, so in MDC, obviously there's a big opportunity for people to start a home-based business. And so your conversation with business builders may be a little different than people that are more interested in products, but I always do a blend of both. And so what I have found with certain leaders in the company, in my daily choice, is they find products that they fall in love with in the company. And so some leaders, like for instance, Fuel Factor X is a really hot product right now in MDC. It's blowing up in Europe. It's blowing up here in the US. There's a lot of countries that, it's like everybody wants to save money on gas. So if that's a product that you like, you can go after people by leading with that product. Same with like XC Trim. XC Trim is a super hot product in MDC. So you could lead with that product. And one of the best ways to do that is by using the product yourself and then sharing your personal story about what the product has done for you. That's the best way I've seen leaders promote. It's like they use the product, and then whether they're posting their story on social media or doing a reel or what, you have to show people that you're using the products and share what your personal story is with them. And so I always say stories sell. You could talk about the benefits all day long about the products, right? Like you could say, hey, here's, I'm going to tell you all about organometallic chemistry and FFX. Here's why it's the best. Or I'm going to tell you all about the ingredients in body melt. But at the end of the day, consumers follow people that have stories. So what's your story with the product? How much weight did you lose? How many miles did you get in your vehicle? If you're doing travel, where did you travel to? How much money did you save using the product? So sharing personal stories will help you convert customers and affiliates that are interested in those particular products and brands. So that's if you're leading with products. Like I always recommend, sharing your personal videos, getting loud on social media about the products as well. All of that is going to lead to, more customers, more people, looking at the business because you're talking about the products and your personal experience. Focusing on the business side and opportunity is a little bit different because, again, it may not be so product specific. You're talking about starting a home-based business. And there's a lot of people that are interested in that right now. So when you promote the business, you're focused really on the big picture, right? It's like you're focused on the house of brands, the comp plan, the tech, starting a home-based business, being able to build it from your laptop. That's what you're focused on when you're having that conversation. So I think to keep it simple, you just have to know how to have the two conversations. You're either leading with the product or leading with opportunity. The opportunity is the big picture. The product is really your personal story to get people to want to try it out themselves.
And I think too, for the opportunity, it's also personal stories, right? Of sharing like, oh, I'm being able to do this on the side or do it from my laptop. So I think all of that is in stories. And I've been more bold. I have to give myself credit, more bold on social media, doing reels and stuff like that. And I've gotten multiple customers in the last week by just doing my stories of the products that I love. So I love that you touched on that because it is really, I found with myself at MDC is finding the products that you love and that you're passionate about. Because I had a leader reach out and she's like, what should I start with? I'm like, well, what are you passionate about? She's like, travel. I'm like, well, that's what we should lead with first then,
right.
And so it's like, what are you passionate about? So I love that you touched on that.
Yeah. And it's kind of the mentality, like I've heard you say before too, the mentality for distributor versus affiliate. Like the old school network marketing was, I'm a distributor for company XYZ and I sell their products versus I'm an affiliate and I use the products and I share them with others, which is really what, this industry pitches it as. But a lot of people more sell the benefits and they go, here's what it can do and here's how much it costs and buy my product versus sharing the experience that gets people in.
Yeah, because I follow a lot of affiliates online and I buy stuff from them. So I think to myself, like, how do I be like them, right? To where I'm not a distributor, I'm more an affiliate, right?
Well, and that brings up a topic too, in terms of, the affiliate side and how to promote it. Once somebody goes, okay, I'm in this, what would you say the focus needs to stay? Is the focus customer gathering? Is it, building your team? Is it finding other affiliates? What's the focus after somebody makes that decision of this is what I'm going to do? Because I think once somebody makes that decision, there's all these other the enemy tries to come in and goes, well, are you sure about that decision? Maybe it's not going to work out.
In the month of December,
Right.
where it's slower.
Yeah. And so,
All
what's
the
that daily focus that people should have of like, this is what I focus on. And I'm not really concerned about, shiny objects. I'm not concerned about what the team does. What's that daily focus? Because you see it from all the different leaders that are in the company from the top down. What's that focus that people should kind of fixate on and do on a daily basis?
Well, first off, when somebody gets started, right, in network marketing, and this isn't just MDC, this is network marketing in general, I think it's really important. And I always taught this to all my leaders, is you have to understand that this is a long-term game, right? This is a long-term play. So network marketing typically works in a 3 to 5 year time frame. And the problem is a lot of people have the expectation that they're going to change their life in 90 days. Now, there are extreme cases where you have leaders that come in that crush it in their first 30 days, first 60 days, first 90 days. That wasn't me, by the way, when I got into network marketing. I didn't have an amazing, my first year in network marketing wasn't anything to brag about, right? But what I was taught was, look, you got to give it 3 to 5 years. So imagine this. Imagine that you give network marketing 3 to 5 years, and at the end of 5 years, you can rest for 40, right? You have the ability to scale back and say, look, I built a big organization and now I'm going to do more, like maybe I'm going to headhunt for leaders, or maybe I'm going to now, work on other aspects of my business. But in those first 3 to 5 years, that's where people have to stay focused on building and growing their business. Now, the opposite is if you worked a job. Imagine you worked a job for 3 to 5 years, and they told you at the end of 3 to 5 years that you were done, you could retire. It doesn't work that way. In fact, it's the opposite. You worked a job for 40 years, and if you're lucky, you can retire and rest for 5. And I say if you're lucky because most people can't afford retirement. So I always tell that first to people when they get started, because when it comes to building their business and staying focused and all the questions that you just asked, if they don't know that from the beginning, it's way harder to work with that person because they're going to have false expectations, right? So I always have that mindset conversation with a new person first. I want them to know that this is a long-term game and they got to work really hard for 3 to 5 years. And at the end of those 3 to 5 years, then, they'll be able to reap the rewards of their work. So I try to get everybody focused on that first, where they're going to run really hard. Then I want to make sure that, all the business setup stuff is done for them. And that's their setting up their subscription, making sure they're an executive, setting their business up the right way. So I want their mind right. And then I want their business set up the right way. Right. And then my next step after that is getting in front of the people that they know, so, and I'm just kind of giving you my typical onboarding for how if I were to jump in and start building, that's how I would do it, is I want to get in front of their top people. So the reason why I was so successful in my first company is I mastered those simple things. I knew how to get people's mind right, and I knew how to get in front of their people. And so that's a simple way to look at doing this business, is if you're stuck and you're struggling, how many people in your team have you gotten their list from and started working their top people with? I mean, that's one of the most, we're going to talk a lot about this at our boot camp event, but that's one of the fundamental skills in network marketing that most people don't do anymore. They don't go after whoever the top people are from your network. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're building. Like you have to have that mindset conversation with your leaders. And you definitely want to be getting in front of their top people as well. And to answer your question in terms of what to focus on, it really depends on you. It depends on the person. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different reasons for why they're doing the business. I do recommend getting personal customers, because personal customers is a sustainable way to build your business. If you're always getting personal customers, whether your team is successful or not, you have income coming in from the business. So never stop personally recruiting. I was talking to a leader the other day that's kind of stuck in their business, and they were saying, well, I don't understand. I'm working a lot and I'm stuck. And I was like, well, how many personal people have you recruited in the last 6 months? And they were like, looked at me sideways, so it's one of those things where we can't forget that that's, again, a fundamental activity, like personally bringing people into the business. Now, whether that's affiliates or customers is totally up to you. You make the same amount of money, whether you get an affiliate or customer. When you bring them in, you get that 50%, right, in the comp plan. So go after personal customers and, go after business builders as well, but don't take your foot off the gas for personally sponsoring.
That's huge, because at the end of the day, in every network marketing company, it comes down to this: how many people are you talking to?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is, because, we can all get in that struggle bus. We have to, the ups and downs and all the things, but we've got to remember is like, not to get into management mode, not to get into the woe is me mode, but to start recruiting more people and talking to more people.
Well, the 3 to 5 year game plan is huge,
Putting
because
yourself out there.
I think that's the challenge with a lot of people, just in the industry as a whole. They're trying to find a company that will be around in 3 to 5 years. And so they might do a startup, or they might join a company that's been around for 20 years. And like you said at the beginning of this call, because of the timing of where we are in the MDC journey, I think that's what's so attractive about it, because even though it's not a startup, because it's been around for 8 years and you guys have gone through that startup phase, and it's on the other side of that, it still has the excitement of a startup, because new things keep coming out that you can kind of treat as that way, in a new product or a new brand. And I know you guys have a lot more things planned over the coming years, and it's just not going to stop, because how you look at it. And did you have a question about
He kind of touched on a little bit, but if someone comes in like, okay, I need to make an extra $500 a month, like now,
right?
Like, what would be your top thing to do? I know you've kind of touched on 10 and 2. Is that what you would kind of train on for the new person?
Yeah, I like 10 and 2, because the most important thing when you get a new person started is getting them to the first rank in the company, right? That's the foundational rank. So when you're building, every new person you bring in, your immediate goal should be to get them to 1K affiliate, because again, like network marketing, as you guys know, it's about getting people paid quickly, but it's also about recognition and getting people to a rank, because getting somebody to the first rank builds confidence. And if I go back to when I first started in network marketing, I had no confidence when I first started. I needed to have something happen in the company to give me confidence, and that builds over time. So I hit the first rank in the company, and all of a sudden I had huge confidence. I got recognition. I never got recognition at my job. My boss never recognized me when I worked a job. So it's like I was in this like community now where I'm being recognized by people and I'm being celebrated, and I hit a rank. And so I'm starting to build my confidence, and then I hit another rank, and then I hit another rank, and then I hit another rank. And so you want that to happen in your group, but you have to have a clear pathway to get somebody to the first rank. 10 and 2 happens to be a very quick way for them to do it, is by introducing 10 customers and 2 affiliates. And the reason why 10 and 2 works is because 98% of people in our industry sponsor 2 or less affiliates. 98%. That's almost everybody in network marketing is getting 2 or less. So we are introducing customers to the conversation, because most people can get customers easier than they can get business builders. So for the masses in your organization, every person you bring in, your goal is to get them to go out and get 10 customers and 2 affiliates. And if you train that constantly, 10 customers, 2 affiliates, 10 customers, 2 affiliates, you're going to become a 1K rank factory. Every person that does 10 and 2 is going to be a 1K. And so that's the reason why you should talk about that a lot in your team, because the more people that do that, now they're a 1K. And think of it this way: if you brought in 5 people and they all did that, 10 and 2, 10 and 2, 10 and 2, 10 and 2, and 10 and 2, now you're a 5K. You just did it 5 times. Now you're a 5K. And so the numbers work really well where if you duplicate that, like there's one leader in the organization that duplicated that. She had 72 1Ks in 1 month. And, that's 72,000 in volume, right? So that is a really clear way, in my opinion, inside of the comp plan, the numbers work amazing. And, when they do 10 and 2, they're making more than $700 in the comp plan, and they just hit the first rank in the company. So you want to focus on things that are simple. And that to me is simple. It's 12 people. Somebody can go out. I'm sure somebody knows 12 people. And so here's the other thing you can do, which is kind of related to this with the 10 and 2 that I'll talk about, is I call it driving lines. Driving lines, this is how I learned. It's a little more old school, but it works. And here's how it works. When I brought a new person into the business, the first thing I would tell them is they have 24 hours to send me their list, their prospecting list. And I would tell them to aim for 100 names, 100 people on their prospecting list. And this is like their friends, family, warm market, people that they know, people that they think would be great for the business, their realtor, everybody that they want to talk to about MDC. And I tell them, don't prejudge people. Don't make the decision for people. Don't say, hey, this person's too successful, so he's never going to join MDC, or this person's a doctor, so he's not. Don't prejudge people and make the decision for people. They have to make the decision. So you say you have 24 hours to send me your list, and it's like, well, Josh, why would I send you my list of people? And it's like, well, look, I'm in your upline, and my goal is to help you become successful in MDC. So I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to work with your people. And so, I need your list so I can help you track, how many people that you've called on your list. So I get their list from them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple phone calls with them so that they know the ropes, so they know how to present or get people the information, and then they're on their own with their list. Of course, I'll be available for a 3-way call, or I'll be available if they need help. But the beauty is this: I have their list. So if that person quits the business, I have an abundance of leads, of warm market people from my organization. So if I do this with 10 of my leaders and they all send me their list of 100 people, now I have 1,000 names. I have 1,000 people just from working with 10 people in my organization getting their lists. And I have a warm market name that I can drop. So if I call that people on that list, I can say, hey, James and Angel gave me your information. They said, you're everything you touch turns to gold. You're super successful, and you'd be amazing for this business that we just launched. So, and then what will happen is if you guys quit the business, now you're going to be back in because you have people on your list that want to join. Right. So that's what I did with my leaders, is I was getting a list from everybody and helping them work, their list. So when you hear the person say, I've ran out of leads, I have nobody to talk to, they're just not driving lines in their group well enough. So I would highly recommend using that strategy as you're building your business. You can really tell when somebody's really driving and working the business and when somebody's not, and so how many people are you working on a daily basis? And that's another thing that it's a metric that you should track in your organization. Like, how many people are you talking to every day? My goal was 100 people a day. If I could talk to 100 people a day, 100 new people a day about the business, then I probably would out recruit most of the other people in the company, because I knew that they weren't doing that. So those are some of the strategies that I used. And at the end of the day, there's only one door to the money in network marketing, and that's talking to new people. That's bringing new people in to the business. And that is the single most activity that people avoid. They don't like it. Most people are introverted. They don't want to talk to people. They're afraid of objections. They're afraid of rejection. And that's another reason why people need to get to boot camp, because these are the fundamental skills that you're going to learn at boot camp. You're going to learn how to do a 3-way call. You're going to learn how to prospect. You're going to learn how to taproot. You're going to learn how to drive lines. All of these skills that, if you look at a professional network marketer and they're making six figures or 7 figures, then you're looking at somebody that isn't having success in the business. What's the spread? What's the difference? It's they have those skills that the other person doesn't have yet. So that person that's not successful, they may have the right mindset. They may have a good upline, But if they're not personally developed and they don't have those skills, then it makes it harder for them to have massive success in the business. So I hope that helps. But those are some of the activities that I did when I was building, and it worked really well for me.
Huge.
I love that. That's huge. And what we've been doing on our team is we've been doing like, what do we
Launch
call it?
calls.
Launch calls.
Yeah.
So kind of the same, but with Zoom, right? And so we've been saying, get your people on the Zoom, and then we do training for them. And then we say, okay, now the people that were on that Zoom, now go get your 10 people. So it's kind of the same, but doing more so though of getting the list. I love that, writing that list down. So that was huge.
Well, and helping them go, okay, this person, how would you approach them, and all those different things? Because I think as somebody's been in the industry for a while, you kind of assume like, oh yeah, they have the skills, and they don't. And that's why they join a team like ours. They join a company like MDC, because they don't have to do it. But if we are not an effective sponsor, because that's really what you are, you're an effective sponsor. You're not a recruiter. Recruiters are, I recruit somebody, I put them over there, I never talk to them again. A sponsor is somebody who brings them in and takes responsibility for them having success. And the only way for them to have success is to reach out to new people.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, I love that idea of like, hey, what's your mindset? But then, taking that asset that they're bringing with them and going, I'm going to help you develop the asset, which is people, that's really the asset.
And not getting stuck on, people in your organization that you've been talking to, and maybe they're an ace on your team, and, you're going to match energy for energy.
Yeah.
So the people that are showing up, you're going to match energy for energy, but not feeling like you have to drag someone along. Cause I had someone ask me one time, like, how do you find leaders? I'm like, leaders just show up.
Right.
Because I remember when I first started network marketing, like I wanted to learn everything. I'm like, I had to make money. So I was like going to the business site, and I was learning everything. I was watching all the videos. I was staying consistent. I was showing up. Like, leaders just show up. So if you feel like you're dragging someone along, like maybe it's just not their time, or you just love them where they are, and you pay attention to the ones that are wanting to run, right?
Yeah, and that's huge. And you mentioned boot camp, and I want to kind of end on this as we wrap it up with the importance of boot camp, because yes, it's the skill set too, but I think a lot of boot camp is also the mindset. And I think that's what, Jenna has really brought to the company almost in a virtual way with the amazing webinars she's done and the classes. And now, Mark is going to bring in the in-person type of side of this, and he's already done it. And so that's what I love about this is not something like, well, I wonder if people are going to get value from it. I wonder if the event is going to be successful. If you go to the event, you will come out on the other side being successful. And maybe just talk a little bit about, because you've had a lot of interaction with Mark, and kind of that, I heard about the decision he made. It was a very quick decision, but it was a very timely decision to partner with MDC. But you've had a lot of conversations with him in terms of getting ready for boot camp. You guys are doing one literally in 2 weeks in Budapest. And so what is the material that you might be able to touch on that, people are going to be like, well, I've got to go do that? Because I think it's more than just a skill set. It's also the mindset they're going to get from that. But what have you been talking about with Mark about, the purpose and the content you're going to cover at boot camp?
Sure. Well, there's 3 things that you need to be successful in network marketing. You need mindset, right? So mindset is, knowing your why you got started, expectations, how to handle objection. Like, there's so many things inside of mindset that are critical to know, because mindset, I would say network marketing is like 80% getting your mind right. And we got to remember too that people get into network marketing coming from a job. Like, most people come from a job first when they get into network marketing. So we have a different mentality, right? When you're an employee, there's a totally different mentality than when you become an entrepreneur. And so that's number 1 that you need, which we're going to talk a lot about at bootcamp, is mindset. Number 2 is skill set. So you need to have the skills, how to do a 3-way call, how to prospect, how to taproot, how to drive duplication in your team, right? All the skills that you need, how to become a better presenter, how to do a video, all of those skills lead to greater success in your team. And then the third thing you need is strategy. Mindset, skill set, and strategy. Those are the 3 things you need to be successful in network marketing. Your strategy is how you're going to build the business, who you're going to go, who you're going to talk to, what countries you're going to focus on, what products you're going to focus on, how you're going to structure your organization. And so those are some of the, everything we talk about at boot camp is going to fall into one of those three buckets. It's either mindset, skill set, or strategy. And so you definitely want to be there at the events, but you want to promote the events to your team, because at the end of the day, if you're the only person in your team at the event and you're thinking, well, I'm going to just bring the information back to my team, doesn't work that way. I've tried that. Doesn't work that way. Your team has to experience it there, because I used to think, I did that for a couple of years. I didn't promote events to my team. I would post about it. And that's a whole nother topic, is there's a difference promoting events and posting about events. You can post about events, post it in your team chat, and you think you're promoting the event. That's not promoting an event. You got to get on the phone. You got to call your people, and you have to sell them on the event. We always say, like, when it comes to prospecting, you want to sort, you don't want to sell. That's true. But with events, you have to sell events. You have to sell people to get to the events, because at those events is where it creates breakthroughs. It unlocks things for people that are keeping them stuck in their business. And if you try to relay all that information over a Zoom call or in group chats, it's way more difficult. So I would highly suggest getting on the phone with all of your leaders, or doing a Zoom call like this with all of your leaders and selling them on the event. They're going to learn mindset, skill set, and strategy. They're going to hear from some of the top people in the company. They're going to hear from Mark. That's an event that, like, I wish it was mandatory in the business. Quite honestly, I wish it was mandatory that everybody had to do it, because I know that, like, an event saved my career. I was on my way out of network marketing. I came to a Super Saturday, stayed in that company, and hit the top rank, within, 12 months after that event. But if I never went to that event, I would have never hit the top rank. Never, because I was ready to quit. I had a bad mindset. I didn't have the skills, and I had zero strategy to build that business. I got all of that at that Super Saturday. And here's what happened. I went to that event. First thing, I saw all these people walking across the stage, getting their awards and all this stuff. And my mindset was that the business was small. And I realized that the business was way bigger than I thought it was, because I was in my little bubble, And so I was like, wow, this thing's actually, really big. And then I saw people, walking the stage, and I'm like, well, if that person can do it, I can do it too. And then they started training on different skills. And I was like, wow, I'm doing this thing totally wrong, right? I'm doing three-way calls wrong. I'm presenting the business wrong, and so I started to learn the different skills. And so that event changed my career in network marketing. So a lot of people are like that. They're stuck. Their mind's not right. Their skills aren't right. They don't have strategy to build their business. And that's why they need to be at the event. So the tickets are still on sale. You can go to mdcliveevents.com. If you want to come out to Budapest, you can. I know Jefferson will be there, and some of our top leaders will be there at the Budapest event. Or Dallas is in February. You could come to that event as well. So I hope this helped. You guys just coming on and getting to share some tips and why to come to the events. But the timing couldn't be better to be an MDC. I'm so excited about where we're headed and just ready for the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Josh, so much for your time today. We really value it and appreciate it, because, again, that's what's so cool about this company, is that, everyone wants everybody to succeed. And that's why we do these calls, is that, Josh, Jenna, the entire team at MDC has really created something that you can plant your flag at and not wonder, well, I wonder what's going to happen in 12 months from now.
Right.
It'll be bigger. That's what MDC has done.
There's always going to be shiny objects, I promise you. There is. But with Josh and Jenna already at the forefront of being in front of everything, it's only going to get better from here. And, events are everything, is like what Josh talked about. I got into network marketing. 2 weeks later, they had an event, and that event changed my entire trajectory. I would not be here without that event. Yeah. Like, I literally was like in the crowd, like bawling my eyes out, like, I have to do this. Like, and it changed my entire life. And now, been successful, but it's with the mindset and the strategy, the skills, and everything you're going to learn there. And like he said, like, you can't you can't go there and try to teach it to your team. It
Yeah.
has to be like an in-person experience for that person, right? And so that's why it's so important to get your team there.
Yeah. Well, Josh, thank you so much for your time. And thank you guys for everyone taking your time out
Yes.
of the day, carving out a little time here to meet Josh, because some of you probably have not met him before.
Yes.
So that's why we wanted to do this too. This will be on recording. You'll be able to listen to this over and over again. I took copious notes, even though I can't read them. So I'm going to go back and watch it again because so much good little nuggets came out of this. And that's why we love being partnered with Josh and Jenna, because it comes out of rooted in success in the field and also success at being an executive, which is just hard to find in this industry. You'll find people that are really great at executive. You'll find people that are really good at in the field. But to find that marriage,
Yeah.
literally, that you and Jenna have is hard to find. And we're just so blessed to be here with you guys and so excited about really the future of what's going to be happening at MDC, but also be excited about what we have right now.
Right.
You know, there's so much we have currently. You know, it's just going to get better and better. And you want to develop a team and have a team that when a new brand comes out or a new product comes out, that you have that team to support that expansion. And so thank you so much again for your time. Any last
Yes.
words?
No,
from
I'm
me?
excited.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Thank you, Josh. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next one.
God bless.
All right. See you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.